Hey guys, I'm Davey Wavey, creator of the gay erotic website Himeros.tv, and today I am joined by sex coach Finn Deerhart and my best friend Matthew Thomas. And today we're talking about a video called We're Brothers.
Yeah.
Simple but effective title. Gets
We
right
are
to the
brothers.
point.
We're all brothers. It's so hot.
Himeros Live is sponsored by Himeros.tv. Himeros.tv is like porn, but better. Himeros.tv has the hot models, explicit sex, and cum shots that you love in porn, but combines them with everything you wish porn had, like authenticity, vulnerability, real passion, and connection. Be part of the gay porn revolution by joining Himeros.tv. So we're here.
Yeah. We are.
This was a feat of nature getting all this worked out today. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You already said Mercury's in retrograde. I never believe in that until it happens to me.
I think there was witchcraft or something going on.
I know. We still have like a little voodoo figure of Matthew. It's like a
exactly.
Blue.
I'm still a Smurf, right?
There's no video of Matt. We just see a little blue dot. But it is great to have you guys here. How was your weeks? Your week.
I'm having a really good week. It's been all rainy though. I've been wanting to stay inside and just like cuddle and stuff. It's definitely put a damper on doing things or desire to get outside of the house.
I love that you're saying this to like two people who are living in the Northeast right now.
Right, exactly. I know.
Oh, California's drizzly. Oh, it's so sad. It's like a foot of fucking snow outside.
Oh, wow.
There's actually not. But it's cold as shit.
It's been snowing though, on and off.
Yeah. Matt, how was your week?
Week was good. I've been looking forward to this podcast.
Good. Well, we've been looking forward to you being a part of this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love it. I love it when we're all on here. All of us. It's fun.
It is.
Matt, I actually took some of your I took some of your advice, Matt, yesterday. I was complaining to Matt that like being in Rhode Island, which I'm here for another like 5 weeks, that it's very like isolating. And I feel like I'm kind of like in my own little bubble here in my condo where I have zero human interaction on a daily basis. And Matt was like, hey, you live near Boston. Like, why don't you go into Boston for a night? So I treated myself to a little hotel room in Boston last night. I went to dinner with a friend. We got half off at the restaurant he works at. It was good.
So this is why I didn't hear from you.
I feel like I called you. I probably called you anyway.
Okay.
For a nightly check-in. Calling me out on the fucking podcast.
Nice. Do y'all have a nightly check-in?
That's pretty much.
More or less, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like 5 times a week. 5 times a week.
Probably.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Other big news this week, I posted a YouTube video called Gay Sex Tips from a Porn Star featuring Logan Cross. I'm just curious, guys, which tip in the video was your favorite? See how much support I have.
I'm like, when did this happen?
I'm trying to remember the tips. I mean, I liked the flexibility.
Wait, did you actually watch it?
Yeah, I just said I like the flexibility. I liked him doing the splits.
Oh my God. I just assumed that neither of you guys had actually seen it.
No, I watched it. I was trying to remember. Well, I think I remember thinking like, "Oh, I already know this," but the splits and the flexibility part was it's my favorite tip.
Matthew Thomas, my best friend.
Yeah.
Which tip was your favorite?
What you want? I didn't watch it, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Oh, the dirty talk too. I like this. The dirty talk thing is important.
Finn, you're my only friend that actually watches my YouTube videos.
I love them. I get little notifications on my phone for a few different channels, and I always get those. And there's a few of them that I like to watch. So, yeah. Okay. His dirty talk tip, I think I would say my favorite.
What was the tip?
To talk dirty.
Yeah, well, because he was saying that in porn, like the directors are always making him vocalize and say things. But the idea was like, what has he learned in sex that he could apply to real life? And that was one of the things that he's really enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
I like the one where he talked about, one of the tips was he said opening up, which is something that we kind of, I feel like I've mentioned on here before that I like generally laugh about, because it's when the director's like, all right, I need you to open up towards camera so that the people watching at home can like see the dick going into the hole. And it just makes these really like unnatural positions that the guys are in.
Right.
It's like super uncomfortable and like it's just not how you have sex.
I hate the arm behind the back. I hate that.
Arm behind the back. Yep. But Logan was saying that he likes to open up to the other guy instead of like to camera. In real life, he opens up to the guy he's having sex with. So Matt, if you were like fucking a guy and he opened up so that you could see his hole while you were fucking him, that's exciting.
It is. It's really fun.
I'm into it.
You're into it.
I'm into it.
I'll watch the video. I'll watch it.
You're not gonna
test
watch
me
it
next week. Watch. Do you know how many of your videos I've seen?
3.
All of them.
He's seen 3. I have 1,000. He's seen 3, and the 3 that he's in.
Wow.
Wow.
The shade. Wow. I'm gonna let you have that. Okay.
Nightly check-in. Like a silent check-in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have some notes. What else?
Do you film yourself? I mean, that's like opening up. Like, I love to do that with my partner. So fun.
I've never filmed myself.
Never.
I haven't either.
Really?
Maybe I did like once, and I just like felt really sexy when I was doing it, and then I played it back, and I was like, oh, like it wasn't cute.
Oh, I bet it was cuter than you think.
There's things I can say, and
we're so critical of ourselves, but I love doing that. It's like that, but that's like the opening up thing, and then we like to watch them later, and it's just fun. I mean, sometimes I totally agree with you. Though. I'm like, ooh, delete. So,
but do you film yourself just for your own viewing pleasure, or is it to share with your boyfriend?
Well, funny that you say that. It is for us, but like I've always liked to do that, and there've been like times that we've shared things with other people, but I always feel kind of tempted just to like send videos out to people that it's just something I enjoy doing.
I can do the picture, just the video thing. I don't know.
Are you concerned? I mean, do you care if something like that were to be like posted or leaked online?
Yeah, I would care, but there's also stuff. There's already stuff of me online, so it's just kind of like, I mean, what people would.
What do you mean by that?
I've done videos. Like I've done stuff before for different organizations, and in the past, like six years ago.
Organizations. I mean, organizations sound so like G or PG, but the way you put this, it ain't PG.
Yeah, are they organizations with websites that end in .org?
They .com. I'll say that. They're like .com. .org. Wait, why would that .edu? No, I've done some stuff that's like erotic film on for like promotional things for companies, but not commercial distribution for the product itself, if that makes any sense. And no, I'm not going to tell which one it is. I've actually gone back to lots of photographers and like they've changed my name to pseudonyms. So
your name is about to go viral.
You'll never find me. No, you'll never know the pseudonym.
Are you ever going to send us a link so we can watch it?
I don't know. Maybe I'll show you on my phone in person with the phone in my hand.
What are we going to do with it?
Yeah, cool. Get on the internet. Well, all right. Well, a big thank you to everyone who watches my YouTube videos and cares about my professional endeavors.
Yeah. Open up.
The shade. That's cool.
By the way, though, so I feel like I'm always in these whatever podcast, I'm always like beating up on like mainstream porn. But I also I legitimately enjoy porn. As much as I beat up on, I also beat off to it. And I feel like the reverse of this video, instead of it being what has Logan as a porn star learned from gay porn, is there anything that you feel like you've learned by watching gay porn? Like legitimately.
I have legitimately learned or been inspired about positions.
Yeah, I was going to say that positions. That's if I've learned anything, it's positions.
Yeah, I've been inspired by a certain thing. I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. So it's opened my vocabulary up.
Yeah. Well, because we've talked about like it's not the porn that you watch is not designed to make you have better sex. It's not like there's a whole bunch of unrealistic expectations around like body image, dick size, coming, erections, lack of representation. I mean, there's a lot of issues with porn.
Yeah.
Interesting that it's taught you about positions. I feel like it's because I feel the opposite. Like I feel like what porn has taught me is like how I feel like it's very uncreative and like the sex. If people are having the kind of sex that I see in porn in real life, then most people are having really boring sex.
I've seen some really tricky positions though. Like where I'm like, oh, I've never done that unless I hired a consultant and like
like what? I'm trying to think of
one. Well, I don't know. There's this one that stands out in my mind and I love it. It's like this guy was on his back with his legs, his ass was up, legs up, and then the other guy was like standing over top of him, like pushing his dick down into his ass. And I was like, oh, I love that. But it's really hot, but I don't know. I don't know that I've ever been really successful with that. But lots of like those sorts of arrangements that just don't happen.
Yeah. I also wonder how many of those actually feel good versus they just look good for camera.
Look really cool. Like this guy's getting just like fucked. Yeah, like with his legs.
Is that
up
comfortable? Is that really on his back?
Well, he was moaning like it was good, so I just assumed that it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, and sometimes those people are acting.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wow,
I do know this now.
You are on a roll today, huh?
I just want to know how to get it on the nightly check-ins. How do I get it on that?
It's going to be a three-way call moving forward.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We shade the hell of each other.
So Matt knows this. I had sex this past weekend. Speaking of sex that's boring, this was like the opposite of boring. I felt like it was like, well, I don't know why I'm sharing this right now, but it was like, do you know what I'm talking about, Matt?
I wish you could see my face. Go on, sure.
His blue Smurf face.
Yeah. I mean, we left like no stone left unturned.
Oh, yes, you did tell me about this.
Yeah. I mean, we used like I topped, he topped, we used restraints, flesh jacks, prostate stimulators.
Other things.
Licked my feet. At one point,
I'm not forcing you to say this. I just want to put that out there before we go here.
I want to know so bad.
This is totally up to you. I don't think you should tell it.
I'm gonna say it.
Yes, for after. Okay.
At one point, he put his big toe up my butt.
Oh wow. That's awesome. Why should he say that?
Well, listen, he's not telling you the story the way he told it to me, so I'm just gonna sit back and let him.
There may have also been like a small toe involved as well.
There are a lot of toes in between the big toe and the small toe.
Oh,
he did not have his entire foot up my ass. Also, it was right after I had buffalo. I had like
wings?
Buffalo chicken cheese dip.
God, that's horrible.
I do. It was the perfect afternoon. It was perfect. Getting fucked by a foot and having buffalo chicken cheese dip. If I die and go to heaven, that's what it's going to be.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Okay. So,
amazing.
So the other thing I wanted to say was, Finn, you sent me an article this week, which I also sent to Matt. The article is titled. Let me read this. So I can make sure
don't mince the words.
Okay, the article is titled, "Has gay porn gone too far? Actor has sex with turkey in Thanksgiving film."
Like, is this really a question? Like,
Finn, can you describe the article?
Not really.
Where did you find it?
Somebody had posted it on Facebook, and I clicked it, of course. And I just had like my mouth open, like, what the fuck? It was hard for me to really understand how it could be really erotic. I mean, I guess it is to some people. So, but it was bizarre.
Well, okay. So for people at home that haven't seen it, so there was a website, a studio that did a Thanksgiving film, and they've been doing these kind of like surprise porn scenes where like the people don't know they're having sex, whatever. Anyway, so it's happening on Thanksgiving, but one of the models has sex with like the Thanksgiving food items. So he has sex with the pie, he has sex
with macaroni,
everything. Yeah. And then he has sex with the the turkey. The comments were also really interesting. My favorite was someone said maybe it needed more stuffing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm curious what your take is. It's also ironic that we're having this conversation about like porn going too far, or like in a video in a week we're talking about a video that we filmed on Himeros TV where it's brothers having sex,
right?
Though they're not actually brothers. I had a pretty visceral reaction to seeing a turkey get fucked by a dick.
Wait, there's an actual video? Because I read an article.
I was
girl.
It was the macaroni for me that I was like,
second. Oh my God, this would be perfect for me to watch while you guys are talking about this.
So there's a link and you can watch the trailer. And I mean, I'm all about like filming stuff that hits on different taboos, but I feel like, I don't know, having sex with like a dead turkey carcass
Foolish.
it's just like shock for the sake of shock. Like they're not doing it in a way that feels to me like it's productive, or that's like putting people in touch with their desires, or like in a way that releases shame. Like there's not, I mean, other than this, I guess there's not like productive conversations that are going to come out of a man fucking turkey. It's like shock for the sake of shock.
It's like, what can I do that's so outrageous that's going to make people Google it and just run and watch it and send it to their friends?
Yeah, I'm curious if it translated to sales for them, like if it was actually like an effective,
like a oh my God factor.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess maybe more people find out about their site, and like any publicity is good publicity, but
also, I mean, I saw the name of the site, and in my mind, it's like, I really never looked at their stuff anyway, but this doesn't make me want to watch it more.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Canadian company. I also felt like it was kind of like culturally questionable. Like,
oh yeah. Well, just because of some of the other stuff that they've gotten flack for in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't film a person having sex with a living turkey because that turkey would not be capable of giving consent. Like, right, like that wouldn't be interesting for me. So like, I don't know if I should feel any better about like a man having sex with that same bird after it's been killed and cooked. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, thank you next on this one.
Desecrates this turkey's grave.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And what did you think? You've been quiet.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I guess on one level I was just really uninterested. Like, what the fuck is this? But on another level, I was like, oh my God, I have to send this to Davey.
Yeah.
Like, it was more like, it was like shocking to me, but I hesitate to put any kind of evaluation on it, because if somebody really likes that, then someone might really like it. I don't know.
The good thing I will say
you had a foot up your ass. Come on.
The thing I will say is at least they put a little bit of thought and creativity into what they were doing. Maybe they put some effort.
Mm-hmm. Did he wear a condom
when he fucked the turkey?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
He's on PrEP.
The turkey's afraid it's going to get chlamydia.
Well, I don't know. I just.
Yeah.
What, Finn?
Oh, I don't know. There's this like new, like confirmed, like case of like absolute drug resistant gonorrhea that popped up in the UK. So they like renewed efforts to educate people around condom use and how PrEP isn't effective for that. So when you said chlamydia, I thought, oh shit, I just read this scary article. I feel like I read too many articles, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's also the thing that people always say about PrEP, and like oftentimes guys on PrEP are less, likely to wear condoms, and people always cite the superbug, super chlamydia, and I mean the reality is like there's a lot of things out in the world that are scary, but it's like you kind of take calculated risk. You kind of measure like what is safe as possible for you, and kind of calculate what you're willing to. I don't know. I just try not to get my panties in a tizzy about the super bugs of this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. Panties. You wear panties?
My panties.
This man put his penis in a pie. This is crazy. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. But did you, on any level, kind of like get turned on?
I thought the guy was hot. That was doing it.
Yeah, there was a moment of like, I don't know if it's just like it was not the turkey or the context, but I think I was just like kind of turned on by watching his dick go into the macaroni, maybe, even though it bothered me.
Yeah. I would have no problem eating that macaroni with it after that dick was in it. The macaroni, like the plant-based stuff, I had less issue with. It was just the dead animal. That was kind of,
yeah.
All right, let's talk about this week's video titled
Christmas is coming.
We actually do have a Himeros TV Christmas special.
Oh, inspiration.
Did you know that? Yeah, it's coming down the pike.
No, that's cool.
All right, so this week's video is titled We're Brothers, and this is video number 3 out of 4 in a series about roleplay directed by Travis Matthews. We're Brothers features 2 real-life boyfriends, Cody and DeAndre, pretending to be actual brothers. DeAndre is the little brother, and he comes out to Cody. He tells him that he's gay, and then, of course, they do the natural next step in that, which is they make out and ram each other and then fuck, which is what always happens when brothers come out to each other. So... I know Matt had some visceral reactions to this video.
No, it just caught me off guard because I came back to my room and I put it on and I started watching, and I was like, I was looking at it and I had to turn up the volume, and all I heard him say was, fuck my younger brother or older brother. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, you are truly testing my boundaries. So I had to like go back and listen to them from the very beginning. I was like, oh, okay. This is just a fantasy. But even then I was like, there was this moment where I was like, I don't know. I have a younger brother. I'm like, I don't know. This is just.
I can tell when you get worked up, Matt, because you start hitting your desk.
No, I'm sorry. This was a lot. This was a lot. Artistically, I loved it. I don't know who this director is, but the way that it was shot, that slowed down, it sped up, the music, and it also kind of like felt or it was good for the vibe between the two of them. Like it just all fit, like their tattoos, the tattoo he had on his back, hella tight. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was just a fun video, aside from the whole fantasy.
But it's also very obviously role playing, right? Like, I mean, for like one guy's white and one guy's black, for example. So like they're obviously not like real life brothers. So they're kind of stepping into this fantasy, and they kind of identify that in the opening. There's like a 10-second shot at the beginning where they're like discussing it on the bench, like that they're going to do this role play scene. But I guess for me, it was like, I guess the question that I'd have is like, how does what we see unfold between the two of them is kind of that, like, I don't know, I think it could fall into the category of like mainstream porn, that it's like these guys make out, they suck each other, they rim each other, they fuck each other, they come, and it's over. So like, what makes this film different? Why is this on Himeros TV and not on the turkey fucking, website? Like, and I think the part of it is that these guys are real life boyfriends, so they do have this really like palpable chemistry. But I think like it's a video it's a lesson in role play, and it can show like how powerful it is. Like obviously they're not brothers, but like you could be a tiny, skinny little twink, and you could step into a role play of being the like football coach, and it doesn't matter like what you look like, what your age is, what your shape is. You can use your imagination as a tool.
Exactly.
I don't know. Finn, any thoughts? What do you think about the video?
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I think that I encourage people all the time to use their imaginations and not to shut that capacity off. And so like what you were saying is, yeah, they're not brothers, but it's important to be able to flex that ability to get in a headspace, because that allows you to really embody your desires. So we can all relate to this. Or I mean, I can't say we all, but a lot of people really relate to the brother fantasy, and it means a lot because it's like we're close. We're like we're so close that other people can't get into our connection, and like growing up with each other. There's just a lot there for a lot of guys. So I like that they were different ethnicities and still doing that role play. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, we did a whole episode, Matt. I don't think you were there for that, where we talked about like taboos and like brother sex. Do you? I mean, you actually have a brother, like, so it's I don't have context for this. Like, does the brother thing, or even like father son, like the daddy son thing, did those dynamics turn you on? Like, do you find that interesting?
No.
You don't?
No, not even a little bit. I'm sorry, it just fell flat. But no.
There's a difference too. I think that it's important to highlight. There's a difference and we have said this before, a lot in what people experience in fantasy versus what they want to do in their real lives. Like, I have a brother in my real life. I don't want to have sex with my brother, but I do relate very strongly to this fantasy and this archetype. It's a different thing in my headspace though than I actually experience when I'm with my own little brother. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always curious about like where and why, like, where does that fantasy come from? Why does it come from? But I guess the more, I don't know, hearing you talk, I guess the more important question isn't so much like why we have this fantasy, but how it can inform the sex that you do have. Like, how can you harness it? You have this fantasy. What are you going to do about it? And for me, who doesn't have a younger brother or an older brother, like this video to me illustrates that I can still like tap into that. And with a hookup or a partner, I could still have like a scene like this, and it would be really fun and probably juicy to step into this.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny because this is the third video in the role play series, but this was the first video where I was like, why couldn't I do this? Like, I could do this. This is hot. This is like, your imagination is your mind is like the most powerful sexual organ that you have. So like, let's harness it.
Have you ever had this role play already? Like, have you done this?
I did like a little like coach thing, fantasy, but it wasn't like really, it was more kind of like him calling me coach. And I've done a lot. I've hooked up with guys who've called me daddy, but it's not like, it's not like I'm really their daddies.
That like came across your face.
I know. A little
but it
twinkle.
does make me want to role play some of the more like twisted fantasies that like I either can't live out or wouldn't live out in real life, you know?
I mean, I don't know where it comes from in me, but like there have been multiple times where there's a reoccurring thing where I'm like maybe sucking my partner's dick, and for whatever reason on that particular day, it's like he's like I have this older brother thing, like he's my older brother. He's younger than me, but like he comes up in my mind as like my older brother, and he's like home from college visiting, and like that kind of thing, and I like it. It's fun. I don't even have an older brother in real life.
No.
But there was something about, when I was younger, I felt alone a lot, and would have been nice to have someone to like really take an interest and care for me. So I don't know if that's where it comes from, but it's definitely real, and it comes up sometimes.
Something that came up for me in thinking about like where it comes from is I was trying to trace it back, like where was the first expression of this like brother thing that I had. And I wrote about this on the Himeros.tv blog. But when I was 17, I had a boyfriend who lived in New Jersey, and he had an older brother who was super hot. Like, we were obviously like young teenagers, but his brother was this like really hot, hunky, like college jock. And he was muscled, and he was like bronzed, and like he would always walk around the house in sweatpants, but they're always like, they'd hang too low. So they'd be just like hanging on his bulge, and like his ass would be hanging out. And my ex and his older brother would, what? Why are you laughing at me?
Because I'm liking it. I'm being turned on a little bit.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So they would wrestle and like on the floor, and like they'd be in sweatpants, like wrestling, and his older brother would get hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Finn, that smile just melted off Finn's face. He was just like, oh, he just went into
my
it.
heart started beating faster, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would die.
I know. What are you doing that?
Yeah, you die. R.I.P. is like rest in penis.
You
I was
die.
just, yeah.
Die a little bit.
What you
Wow.
do is you
Why did-
masturbate for the
what
rest
did
of
he
your life
do?
thinking
What did
about
he
it.
do? Like, did he like pull back, or did he? What happened?
Like they would
That seems like an
think
awkward
they would just like,
ending.
well, no, they just keep wrestling, and then afterwards, my ex-boyfriend would be like, "Yeah, my brother was hard when he was like wrestling me," and I'd be like, "I hope he comes down and fucks me while I'm sleeping."
Wow.
But I actually texted him about it because I'm still in touch with him, and I was like, "Whatever happened to your brother? Is he like married and has like 87 kids now, and like who knows?" And he's like, "Ah, he just ran like a like Iron Man competition or something." He's like super jacked and hot, and he has a dad, he has a kid, and anyway, let's take a moment of silence for what was his name?
You're gonna out him.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think. It was just his first. They were very Italian, the family. Yeah. And very clearly, like big, thick dicks, like ran in the family because that thing was not small. Anyway, Matt, have you ever heard of ABDL?
No, what's that?
It's an acronym for Adult Baby Diaper Lovers.
Oh God.
Didn't I sent you that once.
Did you?
So this is probably almost a year ago now. When I was on Grindr at the time, and I think I sent you a screenshot of somebody that had messaged me about that, and I had no idea what it was. And I think I sent you the conversation.
Okay. Yeah, it's a fairly. I was listening to a podcast. I mean, there's a podcast about it. This woman who she's part of the ABDL community, and this is another instance of like role play where it's not like, I don't think that these are adults that are necessarily like attracted to babies, but these are people who through role play can find, I don't know, if they find pleasure in the dynamic of being taken care of or nurturing someone. But they play out this like really intense role play and get into this headspace. And I think it's an illustration of like how powerful your imagination can be. So you can be like a little, which would be you're the baby, or you can be a big, which is the
A little.
like, yeah, or you're the big, which is like the I think it's called the big, and then you're like the parent figure, or like the older brother or whatever.
Wow.
It is a very interesting world. I don't know that we'll be doing a Himeros TV video on adult baby diaper lovers, but
I mean, I am super fascinated about people's fantasy minds.
yeah.
I mean, I think I mentioned this before. I actually put like a prompt on my website, and if anyone wants to do this, like it's an anonymous submission. I want people to submit their anonymous real fantasies because I study that stuff. So
yeah, and it does. I mean, in some instances, well, we'll get to this in the questions. Some instances we're able to incorporate that into the films that we do.
Yeah.
So speaking of questions,
especially if it's anonymous, like I will never know who submitted these things to me. So it's
oh my God, let's all start submitting stuff to Finn.
Please, please. It's on findearhut.com/blog.
Do you know my IP address if I send something?
It doesn't come through. It's a form that just
You
is
just
like
have a toe in your ass. It's fine.
Someone's gonna send you some like really elaborate like foot fucking like scene. Every video that we make for Himeros TV is going to be foot fucking from now on.
Oh my gosh.
I actually sucked the toe after it was in me.
Yeah.
Is that crossing a line?
No.
I mean,
your ass.
do. Yeah.
It's
I
fine.
like tasting my ass on his toe.
Hey, that's fine.
Great. Question number 1. By the way, if you guys have any questions, please send them to Davey. We don't actually get a lot of questions on a weekly basis. So if you do send one, there's a high likelihood that we'll be able to answer it. So Davey at daveywavey.tv. Okay. Question number 1. So this is a follow-up to a question that we answered 2 weeks ago about a guy who enjoys anonymous sex. So he writes, thanks so much for answering my question. I know you wanted more elaboration on what holds me back in real life. I think what's difficult for me is the human connection and being okay with being vulnerable emotionally with another guy. Anonymous public play is hot because I don't have to talk to them or feel like I'm not doing the right thing or not saying the right thing. With a more close human interaction, I feel like I become insecure, even if it's a hookup or even just the beginnings of dating. So yeah, it's which is interesting because we were trying to figure out what was the context for his question. And I mean, like we come across this vulnerability issue all the time when we film. Like Finn, you saw this in our last shoot. Like showing yourself to someone can be really scary, and like especially if you face, the possibility of, if you show yourself that someone you might not be a good fit for them, and you face that rejection. So what would you say to this person?
Let's say, well, for one, thanks for writing back in and clarifying. And then secondly, you're not alone. I mean, like I felt this way just this morning with my partner, and often the vulnerabilities that we're feeling in sex don't even have to necessarily do with sex. It could be like something connected to your personality in another way. So I would just say you're admitting that's awesome, and just go slow with yourself and explore and be gentle, and just know that even if somebody's like, positioning themselves as if they don't feel vulnerable, that's not necessarily true and not likely. We're all doing the best we can.
Yeah. Do you think so? I mean, I was trying to think, like, even on Grindr, when you like reach out to someone, like rejection is something that, like, if you put yourself out there, if you reach out to people, like, it's something that we naturally encounter. But I think in doing the work that we do and filming the stuff that we film and getting these questions and having these conversations, you realize how like diverse everyone is in their desires and their wants. And that, like, if you're not a good fit for someone, then like, because you're too masculine or too feminine or too this or too that, there is someone else out there that is looking for that. And like, none of that has anything to do with your value. So you can get rejected by someone for not being a good match, but it doesn't make you any less than. So takes the sting out of it.
Do you think he needs to then just rip off the Band-Aid and do it and start making those connections? Because I would say that he just needs to do it whenever he's ready. Whenever he feels like he's ready to make that connection. And I feel like, just based on the question itself, it sounds like some part of him, no matter how scared he is, probably is thinking that maybe he wants more of that.
Yeah. And everything's an experiment. You just kind of put yourself in a situation. How'd that feel? I don't know. And how'd this feel? It might feel good on another day, and just go slowly into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ripping the Band-Aid off might be a little fast.
All right. Question number 2. I'm in the closet, and I've heard you say that it's more important to have people dislike you for who you are than to like you for who you're not. I actually think that's like a Judy Garland quote or something. I don't know that I necessarily was the first person to say that. I just fucked up the whole thing. Okay, so you said that it's more important to have people dislike you for who you are than like you for who you're not. But it's certainly easier to do the latter. As long as I know who I am, I'm not convinced it's the priority for the world around me to know who I am. Quite frankly, I owe the world nothing, and they don't deserve that level of honesty from me. I apologize for ranting, but I'm curious to hear what you all think. Yeah. I mean, I would say I hear you. Like, you don't owe it to the world to show them your authentic self, but maybe you owe it to yourself to show yourself to the world. And to celebrate who you are with openness and freedom. I don't think it's about owing something to the world. I think it's more about maybe owing something to yourself. Is that deep?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it is, because he's also highlighting something we're all struggling with. It's kind of connected to what we were just talking about in the first question. I mean, the false self versus the real self. So how I would just ask the question back to this person, well, how happy are you whenever you're not getting seen for who you really are? That can't be exciting either.
Well, and there's this other point of, he's like, well, not being your authentic self is easier. And to me, I don't know, like, it's not about doing what's necessarily easy. It's about living a life that's authentic and true to you and feels good. So to Finn's point, if he's happy just doing what he's doing, then you do you. I mean, there isn't any one right answer.
Right.
But it's about being true to yourself and what makes you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that easier really mean anyway? Like, because like to me, I mean, when I was in Russia in June, like I was basically in the closet for 5 days, and it was fucking exhausting. Like, it wasn't easy to be my fake self. Like to wear this mask all the time, and to like it may be hard to come out to people. It may be hard to encounter people judging you, but for me to be who I am, it just feels so much more effortless. Yes, there's these kind of bumps along the way that are sometimes scary, but like, God, that's to me a lot easier than wearing a mask all the time. So, and I know it's not about easy anyway, but if it was.
I was in the closet too. I was in the closet till I was 31. It's really challenging. And even if it's like, it buys a level of comfort in some ways, it's a trade-off. I mean, it's not like it's free. There's a trade-off somehow.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of time and vitality and even money in a sense, because I, spent a lot of my life trying to uphold something that wasn't real for me. And then I wrecked a relationship with a really dear friend, my ex-wife, and people in my life. And it was just it was a struggle.
Yeah.
I felt amazing about coming out.
and you came out when you felt like it was a good time, like you felt safe, you felt I mean, like, we don't know where this person lives. There could be safety issues, issues with the law,
we don't know the context,
right? Implications that they could face. So obviously, coming out is complicated, and it's like a deeply personal thing. But
absolutely,
in these situations, I always defer to Oprah, and I remember this episode that she had where there was this young kid on that was terminally ill, and he said that I think he had just like written a book, and he said that he didn't want to die with his music still inside him. And I always think about that. Yeah. Wow. It's like, thank you, Oprah.
That's a powerful one. Yeah.
What do we got next?
All right. Question number 3. Matt, did you know that, by the way, that Finn had an ex-wife?
Hell no. I wish you all could see my face right now. You just said it so casually. Like, yeah, my ex-wife and my divorce. I'm like, I'm sorry. Come again. What?
Yeah.
It's all
I've heard the story. I've heard the story before. So I was like, I just assumed that everyone else has. Those are probably people that are like, wait, what?
Between the toe and the ex-wife, this is why we need an after show. I need to know these things.
All right. Question number 3. This is another follow-up. Okay.
Okay, what do we got?
I'm following up from a note that I sent a few months ago. I asked you if you'd ever film a video about fisting. Finn seemed interested in the idea. I remember that. That was true. I'm curious to hear if it went anywhere. There are a lot of fisting videos on the net. I love when people call it the net.
It's like a John Grisham novel.
So I'm not asking because of scarcity. Instead, I'm interested in the perspective that your videos bring to sex. I'm interested to see if you can do what others haven't in showing a spiritual side of fisting rather than just leather and chains. Can I expect a Himeros.tv fisting video anytime soon? Waiting patiently.
What's his name?
I don't have it.
Oh, you better get ready.
Yeah, Finn, what do you think? Is there going to be a fisting video anytime soon?
Well, I don't want to spoil any surprises.
Spoil a surprise. Spoil a surprise.
Yes, and I would say it was a spiritual moment for everybody on the crew as well, because we didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in one of the previous podcasts that I was like hiding behind Finn when it happened, because it was very kind of like, it was pretty spontaneous.
Yeah, it was.
How far away were you guys? Because it happens like poolside, right?
Yeah, we were like 6 inches away.
Oh my god!
I'm kidding.
6 feet, probably 6 feet away.
It was actually my arm. No, it's a very unexpected fisting scene too. Like it's not even like the whole video is not fisting. It's just like probably 30 seconds of a like 12-minute video will be fisting.
Yeah, but the exciting part of it was like this authentic thing that they did together because they wanted that together, and it was just a surprise to us. So
yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with what did he say, the leather and chains, like that's fun and interesting, but this was probably it was like a very sweet twink fisting like a muscular guy, and it wasn't in a dungeon. It was by the side of a pool in Palm Springs, probably where a lot of fisting does happen in real life. So, there you go.
When can they expect the video?
I haven't even seen the rough cut yet, so it's not going to be till 2018. So it's not going to be. I mean, 2 years, 2019.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Get those holes ready. All right. Next week,
relax
and relaxed. Yeah, that's key.
Next week,
we are talking about a video titled "The Road Traveled," but with the guys from the Gayish podcast, because you two are going to be off next week. However, I feel like Finn, when you come back, you're still going to have a few words to say about.
I hope. Can we have like a reunion tour about it?
Yeah, because this is Finn's baby. This video is. Yeah, you wrote this concept.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
So, all right. Well, we'll have to discuss that in 2 weeks when you guys are back. In the meantime, for all you listening, if you want to get in on the fun and be a part of the party, then join us at himeros.tv. It's Himeros. So like the word him and then eros. Also, it's the Greek god of desire.
Yes.
What was that about?
I know.
Well, I love, because I already, like, before Himeros.tv, I already knew about Himeros, and I loved that aspect of it. And when people are like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" It's just a lot. Yeah, it's cool.
So join us, Himeros.tv. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, more to come.